noise. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I don't think that's loud enough. If you can hear my voice, make some noise. Come on over to the Falmouth Road Race History booth where you're about to hear some motivation and some inspiration. So if you don't know who I am, I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those of you on the stream. My name is Martinus Evans, and I am the author of this amazing book called The Slowest Run Club, the ultimate guide for anybody who wants to run. And I'm here today to share with you a little bit about my story. So please, gather around, come on through. If not, I'll just have to come to you. So, how did we get here? My story started like this. You're fat. You have two options, lose weight or die. See, there I was, sitting in my doctor's office weighing 360 pounds, looking at my doctor as if I can crush him like a can for calling me fat. I said, "Doc, I'm going to run a marathon." And he laughed at me and said, "You run a marathon? Well, that's just impossible." Falmouth Road Race, how often has somebody ever tried to crush your dreams? What do? Do you let them? Or you go out and prove them wrong? Well, that day, Falmouth Road Race, I decided to prove my doctor wrong. So I went, as I was going home, I bought running shoes, and I got on the treadmill that day. There's just one thing. I fell off the treadmill. Yes, it was hard, but I fell off the treadmill. And the sound my body made after hitting the floor was deafening. So while I'm going home with tears in my eyes, I reach out to the doorknob and I have this tattoo on my right wrist and it says, "No struggle, no progress." And I got this tattoo years ago. Got this tattoo when I was very young. And I got this tattoo because of a famous quote from Frederick Douglass that says, "If there's no struggle, there's no progress." He goes on in the speech to say, men who favor freedom yet deprecate agitation is men who want crops without plowing the land. It's men who want the ocean without its loud roars. It's men who want the rain without thunder and lightning. And in his speech, he goes on to say that the struggle may be a physical one. It may be a moral one. It may even be a mental one. But there must be a struggle in order to have some progress. So what did I do? The next day, I got on the treadmill again, and I ran for 30 seconds. And then the day after that, I ran for a minute. And I kept going, running a little bit further every day, day after day. And the next thing you know, minutes turned into miles. And about a year and a half later, I was at the starting line of my first marathon. I ran my first marathon in a little bit over 7 hours. Imagine being on your feet almost a whole work day with little to no water, little to no food, and you're just delirious. That was me. But over the years, I've been running for about 10 years now, Falmouth Road Race. I've ran over 8 marathons and 100 other different races. And I went on to create this community called the Slowest Run Club. We have about 18,000 members worldwide in this community. The reason why this club is called the Slowest Run Club is because when I ran my first New York City marathon, I got heckled by a bystander. This gentleman was on the sidelines drinking a beer, and he was pointing at me. I thought he was going to give me a high five or encourage me, and he told me, "No, you're slow. You're slow AF." There's kids around here, so I won't say the words, but you can kind of fill it in what AF mean. And in true New York fashion, Falmouth, I got into an argument with this guy. See, sometimes your biggest critics are people who are not even in the arena. See, I trained for this race for 18 weeks. My wife likes brunching. She had no brunch. So I made a lot of sacrifices to get to this race. And then you have this guy who don't know anything about me tells me I'm slow and I need to go home. No, we finished the race. So after I finished the race, that resonated with me. And I said from that day on, I was going to wear Slow AF across my chest. A is a big middle finger to him, but B is a badge of honor to all the other people who are out there slow. See, when I run these marathons, there's so many other slow runners out there. There's so many other individuals out there who are participating in this course. There's so many different stories, different reasons why people run. And if you're a back of the packer, there's so many obstacles that you have to encounter at the beginning of the race, let alone during the race. What do I mean? So I've ran races where they ran out of water. I've ran races where they ran out of food. I've ran races where they took down the directional signs. I've ran races where they ran out of medals. I've ran races where they don't even have my t-shirt size. So now these races become a scavenger hunt to the finish line with no food, water, and sometimes no cell service. But instead of all of those obstacles that I faced, I still overcame and made it to the finish line. And that's what Slow AF is about, and that's what Slow AF means to me, is that in spite of all the obstacles that's coming our way by being in the back of the pack, by being a slower runner, we still finish, we still endure, and we still make it to the finish line. So that's what Slow AF means to me, and we went on to have, like I said, 18,000 members inside of this community, worldwide. And throughout this process, I ended up writing a book called Slowest Run Club, the ultimate guide for anybody who wants to run. And the reason why I wrote this book is because when I started to train individuals, I noticed that people had a lot of the same questions that I had when I started running. See, when I started running back in 2012, I couldn't hire a coach. No coach would take on a 300-pound man to run a marathon because they thought that I was going to get hurt and they didn't want to be responsible for me hurting myself. So I ended up having to become a certified run coach myself. I ended up buying all the running books myself in order to figure out how to learn how to run injury-free. So when I started to coach individuals, I noticed that they had the same questions that I had when I started running. Hey, do I run for speed or distance first? Hey, do I eat before I go for a run? Hey, my thighs is burning. I have taco meat thighs because of the chafe from all of the rubbing. What do I do? And this is the reason why I wrote this book, because those are some of the things that I endured while running. I had taco meat thighs. You know what I mean? Like when the clothes rub together and those taco meat thighs, right? During the runs, I fainted on a run before because I didn't have enough food or water. And these are obstacles that I didn't want anybody else to endure, so that's why I wrote this book. So this book, inside of this book, you're gonna have cautionary tales. These are things that I went through. Taco meat thighs, dealing with mindset, people trolling me, fainting on a run, all of these things, right? And then I go out in this book and I tell you how to overcome those things, let alone not even have to face those things altogether. So that's why I wrote this book, and that's why I'm up here today. So before I wrap up and we try to do a little Q&A in this section here, one of the things that I want to say, or one of the things I want to leave you with as we are all getting ready to toe the start line, is something that my mother told me when I was very young. And she told me that whenever someone tells you that something is impossible, I want you to stand up tall, lift your head up high, look them dead in the eyes, and tell them, I'm possible. Because that's what impossible is literally, I'm possible. So thank you. We have merch here as well. We have books, autographed books here for sale. We can also try to do a little Q&A. So if you have a question, raise your hand, and we can go from there. All right. Thank you, Falmouth Road Race. I really appreciate it.